Hey guys, it's Julian here with another anime review. So this time I'm looking for an action-packed anime adventure. If I'm dead, who's gonna do the anime review? All you need is kill. Akame got killed, to be more precise, and I will be taking over this review. So let's check it out. Finally, my own review without him! So, let's get started about what this is all about. So this story is about assassins, so you're gonna get to see some really great action sequences with some excellent kills. Let's get started with the main character, Tatsumi. Tatsumi comes from a small village, and that village seems to be in a little bit of a peril. So he decides with a bunch of his buddies to go into the city to find work, so that they can help send money back to that village. Well, when they embark on their journey, they get separated, and they all get to the city at different times. When Tatsumi arrives, he tries to apply to the military, but with very little to almost basically no success. But the tides are looking in his favor when a wealthy family decides to take him in. But that family isn't as nice as they seem to be. He soon discovers that his friends did in fact get to the city before him and have actually been murdered by this family. Enter Night Raid, an organization aiding a rebellion against the kingdom, decide to take Tatsumi in and train him as one of their assassins. Obviously he has to carry his weight, and they do some pretty dangerous missions, carrying out assassinations on some very high bounty targets. Now there is a manga for this series. Now if you are a fan of the manga, I hate to say that the story does deviate in the anime from the manga source material. This to me is considered a light anime. And again, for those that don't know my definition of a light anime, that means an anime that is based on a light novel or manga that hasn't quite finished airing yet. That means the anime has one of two choices. Either it can end midway through the story, or it can come up with its own completely original ending. And to say that this anime followed the latter half is sadly the case. That means that what happens to certain characters and arcs completely differ than how the manga took them. And that means the ending of the anime is completely different from the manga, where a lot more characters you didn't expect would die kinda end up happening. Again, a little spoiler, but overall, it is still an enjoyable anime. You do get to see a lot of cool action sequences and characters developed in a completely different light. Now, it is sad to say that because of these two differences, the story does take a bit of a turn. Now, a lot of people were hoping for a second season, but because of this deviation from the source material, I don't even think a second season would be possible, as there wouldn't be a source material to base this off of. That being said though, it's been so long now anyway, that instead of having a second season, this might get a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment where, if the popularity ever surged again, they would redo the anime much closer to the source material. Now, I wouldn't do an anime theory on this because there is no rumors or anything circulating about this, but I do believe that would be the better course of action, is if they rebooted the series following the source material this time. But if that does end up happening, check back here for more news on that later on, if that ever does happen. Now it's time for Romance Corner, and I'm only really going to talk about one romance in the series because the other one is more of an unrequited love. I'm obviously talking about Tatsumi and Mai. Now, this was a very little known couple throughout the series. Again, the series is not a romance series, but we do have Esdeath chasing the idea of falling in love. Now, don't get me wrong, Esdeath and Tatsumi would have been nice if she wasn't so far gone and completely, totally hell-bent evil. Now, it is quite a fitting death for her, where she does die with Tatsumi in the anime. Again, this doesn't happen in the manga, but the anime ending was a little touchy in that sense. But getting back to my mainstay couple here, Tatsumi and Mai. In the beginning half of the series, they do have a little bit of chemistry brewing, but it is very short-lived as they kind of go separate on different missions, and they have kind of separate story arcs. But closer towards the end of the series, we do get to see them more in their coupley moments. As well with Mai's death, yes, I know I'm talking about spoilers, but again, this doesn't actually happen in the manga, but in terms of the anime, Mai does die, as she is rescuing Tatsumi. it does prove their love together because they end up sealing for her death with a kiss. That was a very touching moment, and it proved just how much they really did care about each other. And even in a whole hectic state of war, they can still find love. Alright guys, it's time for the 3 reasons as to why you should be watching this anime. Alright, even though this is an assassin-based anime, the first reason is the amazing fights. Again, like I said, because even though they're just assassins, the kills aren't as easy, so these fight sequences are phenomenal to watch and leave you on the edge of your seat. Number 2, it is a great story. Even though it does deviate from the manga, I think they did a pretty decent job of telling a really compelling story. Now, it leaves you on the edge of your seats constantly and wondering why did they choose to go this path, but at the end of the day, you will be left fulfilled by the end of it. Number 3, it is a tragic mess. Now, because it deviated completely from the manga, it just feels like a tragic mess because, spoiler alert, every character that you like probably has died within this series. Now, that does not excuse the fact that in the actual manga, a lot of characters did die. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that a lot more characters died in the anime than should have been. Now, it feels like that because at the end of the day, the story was being told from Tatsumi's perspective, and it doesn't quite end with him being alive there. So to me, it felt very tragic in that sense. Nonetheless, it is still a great story that you should be going out to watch right now. Well, there you have it. I got through an entire anime review without him. And I kind of just needed to kill him to do that. But don't worry, he will be back and revived for the next review, so don't worry, your host will be back. Until then, I will see you guys in the next review. Whoosh! I'm alive! Wait, the review's over? Who did the review?